My child, stop for a moment, because what is happening in your life right now is not random, and it is not punishment. You are being tested, not by the enemy first, though he will try to claim credit for it. You are being tested by me, and I need you to understand the difference. Because how you respond to what is happening this very week will determine how quickly the next season of your life arrives. I do not say this to alarm you. I say it because I love you too much to let you misread this moment. You have been feeling it, haven't you? The pressure that seems to be coming from every direction at once. The patience that is wearing thinner than it used to. The small irritations that suddenly feel unbearable. The doubt that creeps in at exactly the moment you thought you had grown past it. You have been wondering if something is wrong with you, if your faith is weaker than you believed, if maybe you have done something to deserve this difficulty. Hear me clearly. None of that is true. You are not failing. You are being tested. And a test only comes to those who are close enough to the answer for it to matter. I do not test the unprepared. I do not test those who are not standing at the edge of something significant. A teacher does not give a final exam at the beginning of the course. The exam comes when the material has already been taught, when the student is closer to graduation than to the first day of class. If you are feeling tested right now, beloved, that is not a sign you are far from your breakthrough. It is a sign you are dangerously close to it, and something in the spiritual realm requires confirmation before it can be released into your hands. Let me tell you what this test is not. It is not abandonment. There were moments this past week, maybe even today, when you wondered where I was. You prayed and the silence felt heavier than usual. You asked for direction and the room stayed quiet. I want you to know I did not step back from you. I stepped back from interfering, because there is a difference. A father who never lets his child struggle never raises a child capable of standing on their own. I did not remove my presence. I removed my voice for a moment so that you would have to lean on what I have already placed inside you, your faith, your character, the years of growth you sometimes forget you have already walked through. I also want you to know what this test is not. It is not proof that you are unworthy. The enemy will try to convince you that the difficulty you are facing is evidence that you are not chosen, not favored, not the kind of person breakthrough happens to. That is a lie dressed up as humility. The truth is the opposite. Difficulty surrounding a promise is usually proof that the promise is real. If there were nothing valuable on the other side of this season, there would be no resistance to it. Resistance is not a sign of absence. It is a sign of approaching weight. Now I need to tell you specifically what this test looks like, because I do not want you to misidentify it and fail it by accident. The first form this test will take is the test of your words. In the coming days, someone will say something to you that is unfair, dismissive, or hurtful, and your first instinct will be to respond from the wound rather than from peace. I am watching not whether you feel the sting, feeling it is human, but whether you let it dictate your mouth. The breakthrough I am preparing requires a vessel that does not leak its blessing through bitterness. Guard your words this week like they are the very thing standing between you and what I am about to release. The second form this test will take is the test of your patience around money. Something will happen in the coming days, a bill that is higher than expected, a delay in payment, an unplanned expense that will tempt you to panic and make a decision rooted in fear instead of faith. When that moment comes, I need you to slow down before you act. Do not let a temporary financial pressure cause you to make a permanent compromise. The provision I am preparing is larger than the lack you are currently feeling, but you must not trade your peace for a quick, fearful decision in the meantime. The third form this test will take is the test of your patience with delay itself. You have been waiting for something specific, and this week, that waiting will feel longer and heavier than it has in a while. You will be tempted to believe that the waiting means I have forgotten, or that the door has quietly closed without you noticing. It has not. Delay is not denial. Delay is often the final stage of preparation, the part that happens right before the answer becomes visible. Many people give up in the very last stretch, not because the answer was not coming, but because they could not endure the silence directly before it arrived. The fourth form this test will take is the test of comparison. In the coming days, you will see or hear about someone else receiving something you have been praying for, a relationship, a financial shift, an opportunity, and your heart will be tempted to ask why them and not you. I need you to resist that question, not by suppressing it, but by bringing it to me honestly instead of letting it curdle into resentment. Comparison is one of the most effective tools used to derail a person who is one step away from their own breakthrough, because it pulls your eyes off your own path at the exact moment focus matters most. I want to be honest with you about something else. Passing this test does not mean feeling nothing. It does not mean you will not be tempted to react sharply, panic about money, despair over the waiting, or compare your life to someone else's. Passing the test means choosing peace in the middle of the temptation, not the absence of the temptation itself. Do not measure your faith by whether you feel strong. Measure it by whether you keep choosing me even while you feel weak. That is the kind of faith that moves mountains, not the faith that never trembles, but the faith that keeps walking forward while it trembles. I want to tell you about a man named Thomas, not the disciple, but a man who heard a message very similar to this one during a season that nearly broke him. Thomas was in the middle of rebuilding his life after a business failure that cost him almost everything. He had been praying for restoration for over a year, and in the same week he heard this kind of warning about testing. His car broke down. An old friend said something cruel and dismissive about his situation, and a long-awaited response to a job application went silent. Every part of him wanted to believe the testing was actually abandonment. He nearly gave up that week, but he remembered being told that the test only comes close to the answer, not far from it. He held his tongue with the friend instead of retaliating. He found a way to fix the car without panicking into debt he could not afford. He kept showing up in prayer even when it felt like talking to a wall. 12 days later, a completely different opportunity, one he had not even applied for, came through a referral from someone he had helped years earlier without expecting anything in return. He says now that the week he almost gave up was the same week his breakthrough was already in motion behind the scenes. I tell you Thomas's story not so you copy his timeline, but so you understand the pattern. The test and the answer are often closer together than they appear. The hardest week is frequently the final week. Now, beloved, I want to give you something to hold on to for the days ahead, because knowing you are being tested is not enough. You need to know how to stand inside it. When the test of your words comes, speak this over yourself. I will not trade my breakthrough for a moment of being right. Say it quietly if you must, but say it before you respond to whatever wounds you this week. When the test of financial pressure comes, speak this. I will not make a fearful decision about a faithful promise. Let that be the sentence that stops you before panic moves your hand. When the test of delay presses on you, speak this. Silence is not absence. I am being prepared, not forgotten. Return to that sentence as many times as you need to this week, because you may need it more than once. When the test of comparison rises, speak this. What is mine cannot be given to someone else, and what is theirs was never meant to be mine. Let that truth settle the comparison before it becomes bitterness. I want you to comment, I will pass this test below. Not as a performance, but as a declaration that you understand what is happening in your life right now and that you refuse to be disqualified by something that was only ever meant to qualify you further. I also want you to do something practical this week. I want you to write down, somewhere you will see it daily, the 4 forms of testing I just described to you: words, money, delay, comparison, and beside each one, write the declaration that goes with it. When the test comes, and it will come quickly, sometimes within hours of hearing this, you will not have to search for what to say. You will already have it written, ready, in your hand. I need to be honest about something else before I close. Not everyone who hears this message will pass the test this week. Some will read these words, feel moved in this moment, and then fail anyway when the actual pressure arrives, because hearing truth and living truth are two different disciplines. I am not telling you this to frighten you. I am telling you because I want you to be one of the ones who remembers, in the heat of the moment, what was spoken over you today. The remembering is half the battle. When the unfair comment comes, remember this message. When the bill arrives unexpectedly, remember this message. When the silence stretches longer than you can stand, remember this message. When someone else's blessing tempts you toward bitterness, remember this message. If this word has stirred something true in you, share it with one person who you know is also walking through a season of testing right now. They may not have the language for what they are experiencing, but you do now, and what you carry was never meant to stay only with you. Subscribe, because I am not finished. I am going to walk with you through this testing season message by message, and I do not want you to miss what comes after you pass through this part. Here is my final word to you. You are not being punished. You are not forgotten. You are not failing simply because you feel the weight of this moment. You are standing at the edge of something I have been preparing for longer than you realize, and the test in front of you is not the obstacle to that promise. It is the final corridor leading directly to it. Hold your tongue. Hold your peace about money. Hold your patience through the silence. Hold your eyes on your own path. And when you have held all four, you will not just receive what I promised, you will receive it as someone who has already proven they can carry it without losing themselves in the process. I am with you in this test. I have never once left your side, not during the silence, not during the pressure, not during the waiting. Stand firm. The answer is closer than the difficulty makes it feel. Amen.